Good evening and welcome to Access Iowa City, a program about the independent living and rehabilitation movements in southeastern Iowa. Access Iowa City is brought to you by a generous contribution from the Noon Pilots Club of Johnson County and collaborations with the Extended Dream Foundation, Access to Independence, and the Center for Disabilities and Development, and all the hard work of all the folks here at Public Access Television, Channel 18. I'm Terry Cunningham, President of the Board of Directors of Access to Independence, Vice Chair of the Johnson County MHDS Planning Council, and an individual who's lived with a significant disability for over 41 years. Tonight, we got tired of the hot weather and have moved up here to the mountains to do our show. And with us tonight is Mike Lightbody, Information Specialist with the Compass Program at the Center for Disabilities and Development at the University of Iowa. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, glad to be on the show, Terry.
Tonight's program will be about different websites and programs that Compass provides and some of the different assistive technology. You want to kind of explain all the things that Compass is involved in, Mike?
We do a lot, and I'm going to kind of get into that tonight. But the big thing is that we are the experts on information, or we're the experts for information on assistive technology and disability services for Iowans. So we do that through a call center. We're, like you said, we're at the Center for Disabilities and Development at the University of Iowa Hospital. And through that call center, people from all around Iowa call us and ask questions about assistive devices and disability services. And we've got a variety of different programs that we can offer to them to get the answers that they're looking for. So I guess I want to talk a little bit about myself, and then I'll kind of talk about who we are at Iowa Compass, and then I'll get into some of the services, and then I'll show you, like you said, about the website stuff, and I'll be able to kind of show you how you can use our services. Big things are calling us. You're going to see on the screen a phone number to call. That's where you talk to a person like me, an information specialist, to get those answers. But you can also find that information online at our website at iowacompass.org. First thing is, let's go back to me. I am an information specialist at Iowa Compass. Now, my background in disability services comes largely with the intellectual disability population. And I'm also a coach for Special Olympics in Iowa City. And so when you look at the full body of who Iowa Compass is, we all have our different little areas of expertise. There's another information specialist at Iowa Compass called Sue. Her name's Sue, and she knows a lot about educational services and in her experience with special education. Altogether, so there's two of us information specialists at Iowa Compass, and there are 3 resource database specialists, and they're the ones that put together that website that I'm going to show you that lists all the information that we have about assisted devices and disability services in Iowa and the nation. And then we also have our director, Jenny Britton. Jenny Britton oversees all of our operations, but then she also has a hand in our assistive technology legal project, which I'll get into as well. But so Iowa Compass is part of this landscape of information and referral services in Iowa. You can really kind of see that landscape as 3 different programs. Iowa Compass being one of them, where our focus is disability services. The Area Agencies on Aging is the other kind of part of the information and referral landscape in Iowa, and 211. Let me go back a little bit. So the aging Area Agencies on Aging, their focus is elderly aging Iowans. They help give information to them. And then 211 are kind of just the general health and human services people. So think of it kind of like 211 is kind of like a public library. 211 knows a lot about a lot of different things, just like a public library would. But then when you look at some of the information and expertise that Compass and the area agencies on aging have, we're kind of like a specialized library. So if you're familiar with the University of Iowa campus, there's the law library, there's the Hardin Health Library. Each one of the different colleges have a different library, and that's kind of what Compass is a specialized information and referral service. But and so that's basically what we're doing at Compass, is being your expertise on assisted devices. Like I was saying before about information and referral, that's one of our biggest things. People calling us, asking questions about devices. One way that we do that is a service called a product search service, where people can call and ask us questions about what they what kind of new devices are out there. And some people might not be really too aware what assistive technology is, but it's really any kind of device that helps you attain a higher level of independence. So with this device, you could do what you normally could not do on your own. So when people talk about assistive technology, primarily they're talking about, you might think right off the top of your head, just like adapted vans, wheelchairs, walkers, that kind of stuff. But then it also can include, when people talk about assistive technology, it could mean specialized computer programs. iPads are even getting to be kind of the idea that it's assistive technology for communication and for learning for people with disabilities as well. So that product search service is something that people call in, email us, and we can point them to the right direction or give them a list of different services that might meet their needs. So they might call and say, actually we just had a call today for somebody looking for a special kind of chair that they could sit on that would that they could transfer into and then raise themselves up by a hand control device rather than a foot control device to be a receptionist. So what we're going to do is we're going to research to see what kind of chairs are out there, and then give the results to the person that called. So that's just one of our information services, but that's something that's not available on the website. I'm going to go into more of what is available on the website, but before I want to get all the stuff out of the way that's not on the website, and the product search is one of those that's not on the website. Another service that's not on the website is our Assistive Technology Legal Project, and that's a collaboration between Iowa Compass and the University of Iowa Legal Clinic and Iowa Legal Aid. And what they do through that collaboration is help Iowans with legal issues they might have revolving around assistive technology. And the best way to kind of conceptualize what the Assistive Technology Legal Project do is they do 3 different things. They help with clarification, negotiation, and representation. So let me give you some examples of someone needing some help from the Assistive Technology Legal Project. So for clarification, we had somebody call, and their daughter needed to have, the daughter had some extensive health issues. She was away from school for a long time and was falling behind in her homework. So the mom thought that she needed a laptop. And so her question was, should the school pay for the laptop? So she called us, asked us that question, and we referred that on to the legal project. They did some research into the laws for that, and they came back and said that the school is responsible for providing a laptop to her child as part of that free and I'm going to forget what FABE stands for. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's free and equal schooling. I forget now what that is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There's a lot of acronyms to remember, but yeah. it was part of that kind of process. So they got so what the mom did was just by that the legal aid at the time doing that research for them, they took that back to the school and said, you guys need to provide a laptop for my daughter. So there was most of these most of the time when people call, they get some pretty good results from the legal project. And the neat thing about it too, it's a free service. So and any Iowan can call it and get that help that they might need with assistive devices. Another thing is a lot of these free programs you might hear about might have some income guidelines. It's one of the few things that is not based on income. And you know what, Terry, I forgot about something. One thing that I should probably bring up is that it's a lot of Iowa Compass's information about assistive technology and our supports around that flow through the Iowa program for assistive technology, which I think you've had a couple guys on. Gary Johnson.
Yeah, we've had Gary on a couple times with some of the low-tech activity of daily living. So assistive devices.
Gary's kind of part of our little network of IPAT, Iowa Program for Assistive Technology, and through that grant, through IPAT, that pays for the Assistive Technology Legal Project. So it's kind of a cool thing, and it's something that each state has through the Tech Act. Now I'm not going to try to quote any of the Tech Act from you, but I do know it's a thing, and it's making something. It's making a pretty cool service for Iowans. Going back to my three things that I was saying, so it was clarification. They did some research and figured out that the school should pay for the laptop for the girl. They do some negotiation. There was an issue where a woman called and initially she was just looking for funding to help pay for there was a lift for her to get into her house. She used a wheelchair and she had steps going up to her house. So she bought a lift that went up to the front or the top level of her house to bypass the stairs, and there was a problem where the motor was broken. So she was calling us to figure out ways that she could help pay for that, or because one of the things that I'll show you when I show you the website is that we have a slew of different funding programs in our database that we refer people to help pay for things. But in listening to her story, what she was telling us was that there might be more to it than just looking for money to pay for the repair or to get the new thing. So what we did was we had the Assistive Technology Legal Project kind of look into this, and they talked to the installer of the lift, did a little negotiation, figured out that it was kind of the fault of the installer and not anything to do with any kind of, I don't know,
misuse by the person.
Exactly, yeah. Any kind of damage that she might have done to it, and so then the installer paid for the repairs, and it was a pretty neat situation. So a lot of times good things can happen through that assistive technology legal project. One thing that not a lot of people think of when they think about some problems that they might have with getting certain devices is there's an example where the Assistive Technology Legal Project provided representation to someone, and it was someone that had both Medicare and Medicaid, and there can be some stickiness with those two dual eligible programs, Medicare and Medicaid. And the problem was that she wanted it was a lift chair, I believe, and Medicaid denied her getting the lift chair, saying that, basically she didn't need it or something like that. So what the Assistive Technology Legal Project did was that they came in with their team and looked into the situation, looked at the denial letter from Medicaid, and found that what she really needed was just a little more medical documentation from her doctor, really clarifying exactly what she needed. So the legal project got that medical documentation around for her, submitted that to Medicaid again, and she got the lift chair. So, when you get a denial, I don't know if folks watching this would, are into that, but keep us in mind, because we can at least tell you that no, it's a legitimate denial, or we can have the legal project look at it and see if it's something that can be remedied through a appeal process.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the one thing to remember about Medicare and Medicaid is it's one of the few instances when no doesn't mean no.
Yeah.
No means appeal. And if you get no again, you appeal and you appeal and you appeal.
It is.
And you know, things can take a very long time, because I've gone through things that, you know, can take a couple years to get resolved, but never take the first no you get as the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and that, you know, I hear that a lot from, or I tell that actually a lot to callers, because it can get really frustrating going through this process. And you know, just the first process in the door for a lot of people is applying for Social Security.
Sure.
That can be you know, really headache inducing. And
well, and so many older folks, I hate saying that now because I are one, when they're dealing with this kind of stuff, you know, one, the print is always very small. You know, the government's not real good at sending large print stuff out.
Yeah.
And most people of a certain age are used to, if the government says no, that's it. You know, end of story. Don't explore it any farther. So, you know, instead of asking a family member for help or you for help, you know, and the mumbo jumbo of all that can get frustrating for somebody who knows what's going on, you know, who can see it and read it all and not get frustrated. But yeah, certainly find some help.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people, you kind of spiral down into this sense of hopelessness. You know, there's you know, not a lot to do, but you know, we're here to kind of answer those questions. You know, if you get a denial letter and you're not sure what it means, you know, or if you're, you know, if you're at a dead end with services or any kind of thing that you're dealing with, give us a call. You know, we might not know everything, but we certainly know who does. You know, and like I was talking before about that landscape of information and referral services. You know, at Compass we know a lot about disability services, but we also know that the area agencies on aging know a lot about aging issues, and then 211 knows a lot about stuff. So just I know it's easy to kind of get into that spiral of hopelessness, but there are programs like ours that will help you kind of stay out of that spiral.
A little hidden, not very well known nugget of information right here in Iowa City.
Yeah. It is not very well known, I tell you that. A lot of people will call and say that, boy, if I would have known about you months ago. We were trying to do some pretty aggressive marketing, and there's some new changes coming down the road that will make it a little easier for everyone to access us. But maybe folks at home that are watching this on Public Access TV, or maybe sharing this with other folks through YouTube and getting the word out.
Sure.
So I was talking about, there's three main services of Iowa Compass. The Assistive Technology Legal Project is one. The other one is our information and referral service, and the third one is our used equipment referral service. Now, I want to hold on to the used equipment stuff until we get to the website, because it's a really cool service. It's kind of like a Craigslist for adapted equipment. It's my little baby, and I love that project, so I'll show you that. But our information and referral service, that's all on. Most of it's online. I kind of talked about the product search, which isn't online, but there's a couple different questions that I kind of want to go through and give you an example of when someone would call. Now, a lot of it I said I'll show you on the website, but one of the more common questions we get is someone looking for you know, a specialist for a health condition. You know, there was a person that called a couple of months ago who had a son with Down syndrome that was looking for Down syndrome specialists. Now, that's not something we really keep in our database, medical specialists and doctors. We keep a lot of in-home therapy programs and that kind of stuff, but not what this person was looking for. So even though we didn't have that answer, what I told her was like, well, through our database, we do have information services. So I connected her with the National Down Syndrome Congress, which gave her some other ideas that certainly know who those specialists are, would be in their area. But then I also connected her with some support groups for people with Down syndrome and their families, which she could connect with and see what other families were doing for specialists. But I guess my point is that not everything's online, so always give us a call if you can't find it online. But I think that was the only thing that's not online. But maybe we could stop now, and then I can hop behind the scenes and do some website stuff that I'll show you how to search for services on our website.
Okay. Well, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, Mike will be at the computer.
Yeah, and you won't see me. You see my voice. Okay. So now I'm here behind the scenes looking at our website. Again, the website's www.iowacompass.org, and you get to our main page that you're looking at right here. And I was just talking to Terry about someone calling looking for a specialist for their child that has Down syndrome. So one of the resources that you could use to find those specialists, because we don't keep them, is a support group. So let's look at that concept of support groups and try to find, using our database here, support groups in our area. So this is the main page, like I said before. You can change the text size if you need a bigger size. There's an ability to use Google Translate, however well that works, but it's an ability that we put on our page to make it accessible to more people. So searching, you want to type in your zip code. If you're looking for a support group in, let's start with an Iowa City one. And let's leave the age blank. And what I suggest to people using this for the first time is there's a couple different ways that you can search. There's this browse by category, which I highly suggest using. You can also use a keyword. Keywords are certain categorical names that we use to describe different parts of our database. So you could type in different words like home barrier removal or temporary financial assistance, but you'd have to know those words, and that involves a higher level of expertise. Sometimes if you're just looking for a name and phone number, or a phone number, I guess, of a specific program, you could type the name of the program here, and that would get you as well. But like I was saying before, the best way to search this is through this browse by category, and you'll come into a huge database of different programs and services available to Iowans with disabilities. So let's look for support groups for them in the Iowa City area. So I'm going to click on this social and emotional support, because that seems to make the most sense out of that list there. And then I'm going to get sent to another page here, and it's going to show me another list of options to pick from. And I'm going to pick from the one that most describes what I'm looking for. So in the category of social and emotional support, I've got friendly visiting, helplines, mentorship, and then the last one, support groups. So that's kind of the one I want. So now you're able to drill in even deeper on exactly what you're looking for. We've started to categorize different programs based on the disease or disability that they are associated themselves with. It's kind of a work in progress now, so not something that you could rely on completely, but what we're really looking for is a support group, and that can be seen in this category right here. But let's say I'm not really sure what in-person support groups is. So if I click on that little exclamation point, I get a nice little pop-up box that shows what an in-person support group is, so that when I click on that, I'll know exactly what I'll find or what kind of service I'll expect. So let's click on that and see our results. So these are all of the support groups available to people in the zip code of Iowa City. I picked 52246. And so I can just look through this list and see which ones pertain to me or which ones I'm interested in. And when I'm looking at these, since this is a show brought to you by Access to Independence, let's check out their record. So if I click on their peer support services, because they do have a support group there, I get this little zoom in box that tells me more about their support group and the services they provide. I've got their phone number. I've got a link to their website. And then I've also got this cool view map thing. Let's see. That pulls up a Google map, and I know exactly where to go to see the folks at Access to Independence. What I else wanted to show is, say you're doing a little search for a friend of yours, and you want to share this information with somebody else. You can click on a link that says send a phone or email, and you can, let's see if this is going to come up for me. I don't think so. Oh yeah, there it is all the way at the top. So I can put in my cell phone number and I can text it to myself or my friend. I've got to put in your provider and then the phone number, or I can email it to them as well. And besides texting and emailing, you can also just print it right from this page. I won't do that. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of these, what you'll find on our website, the programs that is. Let's do a couple other examples of a search. Another pretty common one we get is somebody looking for some in-home services. So again, going back to this browse by category, or browse categories option, you'll go there, pick which one is most similar to what you're looking for, in-home and community-based services, and you'll get another option to drill down to more options to choose from. Let's pick, we can do supported community living, and we can get a list of, we got a couple different options for what supported community living is. And this is where you might want to really heavily rely on those question marks here to better explain what these different taxonomy terms or the keyword terms are. So use these whenever you get to a stuck point on our database, and it'll explain exactly what you'll find. So this one is a independent living skills instruction. Is the idea of someone coming to your house for a couple hours a day, taking out the community, working on independence, but it's not something that's 24 hours or something that you would rely on all the time. So let's take a look at those lists. Let's see, I don't think I put in a zip code, so I think I might get the full, oh yeah, it's still there. I'll just get the ones that are in Iowa City. So I got my list of service providers in Iowa City that do that hourly kind of drop-in service stuff. So those are a couple of our popular searches that we do, but even a more popular one is looking for funding. And I talked about that at the beginning, where you could search for funding for adapted devices. So let's do an example of let's say I want to get like an accessible van, a van with a lift on it. So I can come to this website. All right, let's do another zip code just to see what's out there. Let's do, so I can do either, let me show that one. I can do zip code, or I can do city, which will give me a big drop down box of cities in Iowa. So let's do one in Des Moines. And let's look for financial assistance as the term we're going to use, and we'll get another set of results. And then let's look for, still looking for that lift for the van. So that's the one we want, automobile van adaptations expense assistance. Click that little question mark just to make sure. Yeah, that's what we're looking for, is lowered floors, ramps, wheelchair lifts. Yes. So let's click on that and see what kind of funding options are available for me in Des Moines pay for that. So I've got Voc Rehab, a couple different options. You know, yeah. And so you want to look at each one of these to make sure that you would be eligible for them. So here's this Travis Roy Foundation that helps pay for vehicle modifications. Now I want to take a look at the eligibility area. So here's some of the eligibility right here that'll tell you what that you have to have a spinal cord injury or be paraplegic or quadriplegic due to the spinal cord injury. So those are the main popular searches that we get. I encourage everyone to play around with those different browse by categories. There's a slew of different information in there. And that kind of wraps up our whole information and referral service. But there's one last thing that I want to show you. I said there were 3 main areas of Compass. That's our assistive technology legal project, our information and referral service, and finally, our used equipment referral service. Like I said, it's kind of like a Craigslist for adapted equipment. And I can go onto here by clicking that buy or sell adapted equipment. And I kind of clicked right through a disclaimer there, but it's basically about how to stay safe in this kind of community where you're dealing with, you know, other people that are wanting to buy or sell used equipment through the internet. So I've got 2 different sections here. I've got a ton of different adapted equipment on here. These are people from all around Iowa that are wanting to sell their adapted devices. Here's some walkers. Real popular one are used vehicles. I'm going to scroll down here to the end. And let's see if there's one. I think this one might have a picture on it. Yeah. So what it'll do, you'll see the seller's first name, their contact information. It hides their email. So if I click on this, it'll send me a link to their email so that it's not the email's not posted live on the website. Then I've got different pictures that I can put up there and more information about the devices. So that's the selling part. And then I can also post a I'm going to scroll back up, looking to buy ad. And so if I'm in the market for a certain device, a real specific device, I can click on, I can go to this website, I can enter an ad through the website, and people will contact me that might be potential sellers. So you can do this all online, but one really cool thing that is different than any other kind of online classified ad service is that you can do this through mail, through postal mail. So you can call us and we can send you these all these ads through the mail and not have to use a computer at all. So it's a pretty unique service. Each state in the nation actually has one of these, and I'm really pretty excited about our service because just last year we ranked #1 in the nation for the amount of money saved by having this service. So we saved $525,000 to Iowans by allowing them to purchase these items used rather than buying new. So if without the used equipment referral service or yours, they would have had to buy it new. So they saved that much money. So I think that's our 3 main services. Last thing I want to leave with you guys is a couple different ways you can stay up to date with assistive technology and disability services. There's our phone number there. I think you'll see that throughout the video, but here's our email address. You can email us any questions you might have. We also have a bi-monthly newsletter. That's a good way to stay up to date on assistive devices and disability services in Iowa. Have a pretty active Facebook page. Let's see what's going on right there. Yeah, that's the Facebook page. That's our happy group right there. Join us on there, see what we're doing. And then we also have a YouTube page that talks more in depth about our services and what we have to offer for Iowans if you want more information about our services. So I think that's it. I'll hand it over to Terry. And thanks.
Well, we've run out of time for today. We want to thank Mike for sharing with us all the information about the different facets of Compass. And we look forward to you joining us again next week. Thank you.